So I'm actually glad you mentioned like politics because um, I feel like from an outsider's perspective, politics does play a huge role in financial planning because if you're planning for the next 20 years and like you said that your environment is constantly changing, like how does politics play a role in financial planning?
One of the things that I see a lot is we'll have clients come in and maybe they're, they could be far on the left or far on the right.
Yeah.
And somebody who maybe has come in, like we had this pretty frequently in 2016 through 2020, they'd come in and they're very, very concerned about um, Trump sitting in the presidency.
Yeah.
And they think, well, this person's going to, um, drive the country into the ground. I don't want to be invested in stocks. I want my accounts to be in cash, maybe a little bit of bonds, but I'm not comfortable with this because I think this person is a maniac and they're going to, just ruin the country and the capital markets.
Yeah.
And then somebody on the right which is more frequent now that we have a Democratic president, somebody on the right might say, well, I'm just really concerned about Biden. I think he's, you know, uh, losing it. I think he's over the hill, and he's making decisions that are in no way related to economics. We're spending too much money. Inflation's going to run out of control, and I want to be out of the market. And so what happens often in my experience is that regardless of what side you sit on, sometimes there's going to be a blue president, sometimes there's going to be a red president.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Senate is going to swing one way or another, and about half the time you're not going to like it. But that kind of stuff doesn't tend to impact the markets long term. They tend to go up regardless of whether there's a red or a blue person or Senate or House of Representatives. And
Okay.
so when you look at the stats, it think of it this way: the country is a big old cruise ship. It's really, really hard to steer a big old cruise ship in any dramatic direction. You can kind of veer in one direction a little bit, but no one person can dramatically shift the trajectory um, in a really short period of time. So, politics comes into the equation because I'm always trying to talk my clients into a consistently executed investment strategy, regardless of who's sitting in office, because that's the path that's going to lead them to the best outcome, is that consistency, even though it's really hard to do that sometimes because you might not like the person who's sitting in the White House.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is that like although like to them it might play a big role because like you're either left or you're right and you might not agree with what's happening in the US, but in the long term it won't really matter. Is
Yeah,
that correct? Yeah, okay.
that's right.
So when like moving
Well, let me
on,
let me
okay,
rephrase that.
okay.
It's likely to matter at some point, but your best bet is to have a globally diversified portfolio
Yeah.
that's not subject to that kind of risk.